Hello, hello, hello. It's cold outside, y'all. And that means that we're inside more and we're having to deal with our families. And I thought I'd jump on here and talk a little bit about that, about family and what that means, especially in this time of struggle nationally. Nationally, we're in a time of struggle because people have taken away their common sense. They have let their common sense go in a way that I just don't even understand. Recently, we've been having a talk about the president and his memes. That man, y'all, um, it's ridiculous that we even talking about it because we know that he's not right. He never has been. He shouldn't even be sitting in that seat, and it's only because people have taken their frontal lobe and thrown it out the window because of COVID. That's the only explanation for people acting like we turn back the time 40 years from now and that we're thinking like 40-year-olds, like that, like 40 years ago, 50 years ago. That's ridiculous. This is not 1970. It's not even 1960. We're in 2026, y'all. Why are we even entertaining somebody with a meme about putting the Obamas on there as monkeys and gorillas? Why don't we just do the same to him, right? Because there's enough that we can just go back to footage from the 80s when he was doing all kinds of crazy stuff. Let's Anyway, the original content of this was supposed to be about family. And a lot of times we forget that we're supposed to come together in times of struggle as family. And it doesn't it doesn't help anybody when we hide things as family. In a couple of days, I got to lay to rest one of my oldest cousins, and he's somebody who's one of my first memories. And I was telling my aunt, who's only like 8 years older than to me, that at the time he struggled with a lot. My aunt had some struggles at that time, finding herself, finding who she should be, and she let a lot of things happen that shouldn't have. And my cousin spent a lot of time struggling. He struggled with drugs and alcoholism. He struggled going in and out of jail. And my first memories of him was very loving, of him throwing me in the air, and him being by my side as a little child. And then he disappeared. Later on, nobody even told me. I found out that he was in jail. But that wasn't a discussion in the family. It wasn't a discussion. And I felt like, when I was talking to her, I said, I felt like he had abandoned me because all of a sudden he just disappeared. And nobody told me he went to jail. I just kind of gleaned from overheard conversations that he had, the actions of my cousin and my aunt, that he went to jail. And it just reminded me that we as family, sometimes people are struggling hard. And we, rather than actually admit that we need help, we hide it because we don't want to be judged. And we are in a time where people don't like judgment. But I also feel like judgment keeps you in line sometimes. At the end of the day, you should know that you could tell your family anything and that those people are there to help you, not harm you, right? And unfortunately, that's not always the case. But I feel like in his lifetime, had family done what they were supposed to do, a lot of his struggles that he had as an adult, he wouldn't have ever suffered. Sometimes we got to put our foot down as family members and say, I'm going to stand to protect that person, that child. You know, there were times where my house was a safe haven for people struggling, for my aunt struggling. They struggled through relationships. They struggled, you know, trying to find their way in their life. And I remember as a young child that my house was a safe haven for them to come to in that struggle. Everywhere needs a safe haven. Everybody needs to help, you know. Right now, I'm that safe haven for my nieces and my nephew, you know. My sister passed away, and I basically am all the help they have. But you know, you push on, but that's the whole reason why family comes together, right? So that we're always helping each other. I get laughter all the time because I'm always trying to help somebody. I'm always trying to figure out a new way to do something. And that sometimes gets tiring to that person too. But I strongly believe that, you know, we're all ships. And sometimes when you're on a voyage, you need that safe harbor. And there should be tons of us who have our little, you know, lights out as a safe harbor for those ships to land. No matter who it is, no matter where it is. That they know as long as I'm here breathing in this world of turbulence, that we have a safe harbor to go to. And I just want people to examine that. Think about that family member that needs to be held accountable. And that everybody's like, shh, I don't want to say to so-and-so that she's falling down bad. Sometimes they need to hear that. Sometimes those children need to know that there are safe harbors. Thanks for hearing me out. Till next time, family, stay warm. It's cold outside.